Very long. I mean, if you want to go on a bit, then everybody here is interested in the whale and mulberry. Mike, oh lovely, thank you. We were saying with Tim yesterday that it would be really, really good if we could get a kite anchor to go with the whale. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be really good.
We know of only one kite anchor which is above ground.
Right.
Which is in a private museum, isn't it? Yeah, that's what our But there is a replica which has been built, because all the drawings exist. There's one on the Almar seafront,
right.
which is a replica done from the original drawings. There are any number of them still buried. The trouble with a kite anchor is that it buries down and down and down.
Yes.
It's unlike most ship's anchors. I mean, ship's anchors meant to be recovered.
Yes.
When they try to recover them when they dismantle Mulberry, all the cables broke. So it was not designed like a ship's anchor is to go down and to come up again. It was designed to hold. So they're all still there.
But they formed back in London. Okay. And I was there with another 2 years. I see. There was a really interesting.
Good. This is my friend Michael.
Nice to meet you.
My daughter.
The one with the bug.
Oh, she's Elisa. George, my old mate.
Elderly cousin, how are you? This is Bill Mulberry. We met in France. Bill, how are you? Nice to see you. I did wonder as I drove up, Bill's still alive, because you didn't wonder, especially contemporaries of mine.
Yeah, I remember you. Winchester.
That's right. Yeah. We came over to Aramonts for the opening of the square. You were there then. I went last summer.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Happy, my wife. So I took her last summer. And
More I wouldn't read, doesn't mean about.
Hello there. Do you want to see Mum?
I guess that's a good thing.
Glad you made it.
Yes, indeed. Good to see you. There's a little bit about
Really?
central deliberation.
Are you wanting to come to Scotland?
I am.
I'm Mike's wife.
Wales actually is because what you don't see is a static display.
We'll all film.
And they design the worst case scenario. So that end is on top of the wave that's the you must have spare tanks and jeeps here somewhere.
The only trouble is when I've got an offspring, it's I'm looking at your ties. I'm trying to recognise you. Royal Engineers. Army Benevolent Fund. No, we support it. I'm an ex-Royal Angler.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But, so, what's your link here with the whale today? Of course, Sapper.
Well, I've been connected with the Beckett family ever since we did the monuments over at Canada. I was responsible for putting up the original excuse me.
I think it just shows you what planning, enterprise,
Unbelievable.
and a spot of genius can achieve. And without it, Normandy wouldn't have happened.
Oh, I'm so pleased to be here.
Oh, well, just over it.
Excellent. Do you want to give me a name?
Crettingham.
Crettingham. I know Crettingham, yes.
Do you?
I live in Haleston, just a bit further
I know,
north.
yeah.
Yeah. So we are neighbours.
This is one of my oldest friends. She was quite young and pretty when I first knew her.
From our museum. She's going to be exhausted. Mother's on the treadmill. So this is
Yeah.
Hard. I'm the Executive Director of Collections and Governance here at IWM. It is a real pleasure to have you here today, and so many of you as well actually, and it's a very special welcome to members of the Beckett family and the volunteers of Les Amis du Pont Bailey. You all made this very special project happen. I know that this is a very special moment for you. The whale is very dear to you. As a representative of IWM, I can say as well that we are honoured and privileged actually to be here today to formally receive the whale to the Imperial War Museum itself. So thank you very much indeed for all of your help with this. Just to give you a bit of context actually about the Imperial War Museum itself and this particular branch, the mission of the Imperial War Museum is to develop and communicate understanding of the causes and consequences of war. Duxford here is one of our 5 physical branches. It's a place itself formed by a war, you could say. Its origins go back nearly 100 years. In fact, that's from 1917, in fact. So it started off as being one of the first air bases for what was the Royal Flying Corps at the time, later becoming the RAF. And in the Second World War, Battle of Britain, fighter squadrons flew from here, the Spitfire flew from here, and later on in the Second World War, it was occupied by the 8th American Air Force. We're here from 42 onwards, and American aircraft would have flown from here in support of the D-Day and Normandy landings. So as you go down the site later on, and my colleague will outline the programme later on, you'll see the First World War hangars will go past en route to the west end of the site, where we're very proud now to have the whale established, and it's outside of our land warfare hall, which tells the story of the Normandy D-Day landings actually, so it fits in with our narrative here at IWM absolutely perfectly. So we're very privileged to receive it today. So once again, a very warm welcome to you all. It's fantastic to see so many of you here. Thank you for making it happen. And if I could just hand over now to my colleague Alicia Gurney, who's our Head of Master Planning and Engagement here at Duxford. She'll outline the programme of events that we're just about to embark on.
I'm Alicia. It's lovely to meet you. Put faces to names. We've been working with Mike Beckett and Christopher Long for a while on this event, so it's wonderful to have you all here today and to be actually doing it. So the plan from now is to, there's a coach or you can walk, it's up to you. We're heading right up to the other end of the site where the whale is sighted. We will then do some, I suspect I'd call them informal formalities, and some speeches and so forth from a number of people. There'll be some photographs which my PR colleague will organise with the press that are around. And then after that, when everyone's ready, we will come back here for some lunch and to conclude the celebrations. So, thank you very much. The toilets are down the corridor in here, if you wish to use those before we go up. But otherwise, it's a question of gathering outside if you would like to walk, getting onto the coach if you would like to drive, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Let's have the coach because I'll let you get it because it'll take a while for all the walkers to get there, won't it?
The interview just taking place is going to be mixed with the stuff that's been on the BBC News this morning. Yeah, okay, I think it would be a day or a couple of weeks, and it turns out to be 28 days solid because of transport and stuff. Oh, it's safer. Yeah. This was just an oil company, they were rushing over, they don't care.
So that's why, I just, like my 3 months away, it was so good, and I saw all these people who have these amazing work-life balance.
And you come back here and it was like, hey, you can work again.
Yeah. I mean, the first week was quite nice, and I was like really energetic, and I was like, no, I wasn't like, yeah.
Yeah, when would be good for you if I just come down?
Yeah.
Look like partners. Look like partners. You can actually speak to it. Yeah, that's better because Gordon's tourist.
Yeah,
that looks better.
Yeah, that's fine. We've got quite a few people in the background.
So this is one 80-foot whale, of which 10 miles were made, and capable of taking a 40-ton tank. Designed to float, designed to continue to function in all weathers, in wave conditions, designed to flex under wave conditions without stressing. 10 miles were made. 4 miles of this were lost in the tow across the channel due to enemy action, etc. So 6 miles were actually made and were actually used at Mulberry. After Mulberry, after the end of the war, a lot of these whale sections were used to bridging repairs for civilian use for the many bridges over roads and railways that had been destroyed in the war. And this was one of those. And this, after being used in Mulberry Harbour for 30 years, this was a civilian bridge. And now it's back here at Duxford where it's being preserved.
Mind your heads, won't you? Do you mind?
There you go, just open that for you.
Perhaps one boat.
So well done. I think we've all made it up here. Impressed with the people who've walked. I just wanted to, now that we're in the presence of it, I think you'll agree it's an impressive sight. I just wanted to say two things. One is to thank the people from who've worked with Imperial War Museums to enable this this beauty behind me to get here from France and all the way over here, to have been stabilised, painted, rebuilt, put on its mounts. So Brian Cracknell from Borley Brothers and Peter Weston and our friends from Marshall's have all worked brilliantly, and at times I can promise you above and beyond in order to get this here. The whale has this ability to capture everyone's imagination, and they can't help but do everything that they can to make it happen, as I know that all of you have done as well. A lot of what I do here is about engaging with the public, connecting with the public, and helping the public understand the stories of conflict. And what I think is so wonderful about this object, other than its immense size, and we do things on a large scale here at Duxford, you'll have seen that. This object was there in 1944, so it enables this very tangible, direct connection between our visitors that are here today and every day, with those people that are using and benefiting from this I'm now going to hand over to Christopher Long, and we'll have a few speeches, and we'll conclude. There will be some photographs, and then in due course we'll go back to the airside suite for some celebration and some lunch.
Alicia, thank you very much indeed. I owe you a long debt, and it's been very, very nice to have a very good relationship with all of this. Thank you all for coming, and also please excuse me if I'm a little wobbly at the moment. It's been a very strange experience seeing this. The last time I saw this whale bridge was on the 15th of July, and Simon de la Tour and I, Simon who's the current president of the association, we saw Borley Brothers and Welshes collect this thing, a rusting pile of 1944 engineering, and it went off on two long low loaders off to Eastbound Port. And I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up all night because I thought that the French customs would not let it leave the country. And at about 7 o'clock in the morning, our good friend from Borley Brothers rang me and said, "Christopher, we're here." It was like sort of the Eagles landed. The first time I saw this was in 2008. We were given it because, or I think very largely because, we'd already saved a baby bridge in Normandy, which we still own. And when it was suggested that if we could do that, we could save this, I was stupid enough to think that that would be very easy. And if I'd known what a nightmare it was going to be for 6 or so years, I would never have gone to look at it or had anything to do with it. They say in life that when old friends come to stay, they bring you joy twice. They bring you joy when they arrive, and you have some joy in seeing them go. And I feel that about this wonderful, wonderful thing. I have very quick thank yous to say, and then I'm stopping. I first of all want to thank Claude Loisel, who was given the job of dismantling this bridge, but it was serving as a road bridge. He could have sold it for scrap, and he didn't. He stuck it in the back of a quarry, and he waited for people as mad as some of us, I can see your faces, to come along and save it, and he gave it to us. And then I have to thank about between 12 and 20 of us who actually took this thing to bits, who by hand, with no machinery, no forklifts, no tractors, nothing. And it was done in all weathers, under all conditions, and it was an amazing job. You know who you are, I'm not going to name you. Anyway, your names appear on this plaque. And finally, I want to thank the Becketts, because without Ida and her children, we would never have got this over to England. In fact, Ida and Tim, Mike, sadly not Sean, came to lunch with us, and we explained our problem. We said, we've got this wonderful thing. Alan Beckett designed it, and we've got to save it from being sent to scrap. It was risked for the third time. It risked being sent to scrap. And so thanks to their efforts, it's here, and you'll hear more about that in a moment. Finally, I want to thank Job Card and all the team here at Duxford, and all the people at Borley's and Marshall's and Welsh's and everybody who was involved in saving this. You did a magnificent job. I'm immensely proud of you, and I'm very, very happy. I'm now never going to talk about this whale in public again.
Well, I'd add a few words, because it is actually wonderful to see the whale restored to its former glory. And particularly rewarding result for our association, the Unveiling Bailey, made possible by the effort and generosity of the Beckett family. I feel honoured to be standing here with Ida, and in memory of Alan, and on behalf of our association. Won't do that. No. Oh, right, okay. I feel honoured to be standing here with Ida Beckett, and in memory of Alan, and on behalf of our association, would like to take this opportunity of presenting her to you with this gift, with our thanks and gratitude. And it's this is the plaque. What I'm presenting you, Ida, is with a replica or copy of the plaque, identical to the one that we're unveiling here today, for you to put in your sitting room in pride of position. There we are, let's roll. In fact, there's a door to come read later. Meanwhile, I will pass you Adam.
Over 70 years ago. Over 70 years ago, this bridge span was towed across the channel to Normandy. Also crossing the channel at the same time, on D-Day +1, was my husband, Alan Beckett, who was in a small motor launch, together with 12 young and apprehensive American soldiers. They were apprehensive with good reason, for as they approached the French coast, they were bombarded with the horrific noise and confusion of battle. Bombs were dropping on petrol-driven boats, some were exploding in flames, ships were being sunk, and of course there were the inevitable sad casualties of war in the water. Once more less safely ashore, Alan was able to supervise the assembly of the Whale roadway sections, and he later described to us the enormous feeling of satisfaction he had on seeing an endless stream of heavy tanks that had been unloaded from transport ships half a mile out to sea, rumbling along his roadway onto the beach, ready to take part in the liberation of Europe. I am delighted to be here today to commemorate the conservation and installation of this particular whale span. It took my husband, who in 1942 was a relatively young engineer in the army, just 1 week to not only design the floating roadway, but also to hand in the completed drawings to the War Office. I cannot think that he had much sleep during that week. Once the design was approved, 10 miles of the roadway were built. Churchill, in his famous memo of May 1942, stipulated that it had to float up and down with the tide, and the anchor problem must be mastered. The roadway itself had to be capable of carrying heavy machinery, tanks, troops, ambulances, and all the equipment and vital supplies needed by the liberating army landing in Normandy. I would like to thank everyone who's made today's event possible, especially Christopher Long and Simon de la Tour. They and their team rescued this particular whale section and have done much to preserve it over the years, when at times it must have seemed an easier option to sell it for its scrap metal value. The Beckett family is truly grateful. Of course, we are hugely indebted to John Card and his team, who have carried out the restoration work so meticulously. We were very much encouraged by their enthusiasm, regular updates and photos as the work progressed. The memory of Mulberry Harbour has been actively kept alive in Arromanches. The town has a most interesting museum, and visitors can't fail to appreciate what an imaginative feat of engineering the artificial harbour was. Now we have here in England this lasting and tangible reminder of one of the most important events in the history of Europe. Thank you all for coming.
I'm now going to hand over to my colleague James Taylor, and he's going to share with us from the museum's perspective the import and impact of the whale in history.
Thanks very much. Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. My name's James Taylor, and I'm Assistant Director at IWM, responsible for the interpretation of our collections and the historical content in our displays. It gives me terrific pleasure to welcome you today to IWM Duxford to mark the handover to the museum of a quite extraordinary object, and to thank those who made that possible. The story of the whale begins, as Ida Beckett has just said, in a memo of May 1942, when Winston Churchill, ever the champion of both amphibious landings and innovative military innovation, sent a memo to the Chief of Combined Operations, Lord Louis Mountbatten. It was headed Piers for Use on Beaches, and in part it read, "Let me have the best solution worked out." I'm not going to do my Churchill impersonation. "Don't argue the matter. The difficulties will argue for themselves." It was a young Royal Engineers officer, Major Alan Beckett, who mastered the problem and the difficulties and found the best solution that Churchill so craved. As Alan Beckett was later to write, the problem was to design a pontoon bridge able to ride a rough sea without overstressing any of its components. Such is the basis of design of the whale piers. A keen yachtsman, he went on to design a flotation unit for the roadway and an extraordinary anchorage system that was at once amazingly innovative and remarkably effective. We're delighted to welcome the Beckett family here today and to thank them so much for their generosity in helping fund our acquisition of this remarkable piece. Even a casual look into the history of Mulberry Harbours and the whales reveals some remarkable statistics. Mass construction of mulberries began in December 1943. For the whales, 10 miles of roadway were constructed. 60,000 tonnes of steel were consumed in their manufacture, and 200 interchangeable parts had to be prefabricated. The roadways were carried by 670 floats, of which 470 had to be built in concrete. At its peak, 45,000 workers at over 500 firms were employed on the project. Unthinkable as it might be to us now, they kept their work entirely secret. Following the Allied landings in June 1944, the two mulberries were speedily built. The British mulberry at Arromanches helped ensure that over 2.5 million men, 500,000 vehicles and 4 million tonnes of supplies could be landed in France. They would ensure that the campaign in northwest Europe would become the victory campaign. On the 19th of June, the British mulberry survived the worst Channel storm in over 40 years. Thanks to Alan Beckett, who conducted trials to ensure his designs could withstand violent weather of the Channel, the British Mulberry was so brilliantly constructed that it survived. The Daily Sketch reported on 23rd of October 1944 that a synthetic port as large as Gibraltar could be created in less than a month and withstand the worst June gale we've ever seen. An unparalleled feat of engineering skill was to design a pontoon bridge able to ride a rough sea without overstressing. I've given you there a parade of figures that tell us something about our whale span. History, however, is not just about figures. He went on to design it's also about meaning for the roadway, and extraordinary Mulberry harbours meant that planners of the ones amazingly innovative had the freedom to choose landing sites away from heavily fortified places where the men landing might have suffered horrific casualties. The innovation and expertise that went into the Mulberries and that Alan Beckett put into the whales symbolised the Allies' confidence in victory. It meant that they had embraced new ways of warfare that were more ingenious, more effective, following the shock of a string of defeats just a few years previously. They also meant that the Allied High Command could bring to bear a huge advantage in men, machines and munitions that they had over the Germans. Psychologically, the British Mulberry gave the fighting men confidence. They knew that a heavy investment had been made in the success of the landings. If wounded, soldiers knew they would be evacuated quickly back across the Channel. Indeed, some Normandy veterans recalled going back on trucks to see the new port under construction. This was to be no fiasco, such as that at Gallipoli nearly 30 years previously. To conclude, our whale is no mere relic. It's an astounding piece of engineering. It's a monument to enormous human endeavour. It is, as Christopher Long so rightly said, physical evidence of one of the greatest battles of all time during the greatest war of all time. It stands for the colossal effort and loss of life suffered by British, American and Canadian troops. Finally, it's a witness to the landings in Normandy that sealed Hitler's fate. Landings that marked the beginning of the end for a regime that had brought death and suffering to millions. As Tim Beckett said to me, it actually was a road to freedom. That's how much history was invested in our whale and how much we at IWM invest in it. The whale is also a testament to the efforts of so many people to have our whale preserved and its story told. So many of you are here today, and we owe a huge debt of gratitude to you all. For all of these reasons and more, we are very, very proud and privileged to be the guardians of this wonderful piece of our shared past. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, James. So now my colleague Esther is going to be organising the photographs that the press would like. If you would like to dwell for a bit, chat, take some more of the whale in, and then we'll make our way back down to the airside suite via the coach and walking. Thank you.
We're going to get a few photos.
Again, have a look at the well, I've still got it.
Yeah, so maybe you could just keep it and use it in your daily life.
Yes. I'll take it off.
Just going back on the coach.
Makes you feel proud, does it? Yes, it does.
The interesting thing about the whale is the central transverse member is fixed at each end. It's a moment connection, but it can warp. So as the two sides move, this central plate warps. And then if you look at the other transverse members, they all have pinned ends. So all the what holds the two sides vertical is only the central plate. And I have to say they've restored this extremely well, and they've kept a lot of the, they haven't tried to repair some of the corrosion damage. They've just cleaned it up and painted it, and it's very much in its, you can feel its age, and you can see exactly how it was designed, and what an unusual structure it is.
You must be extremely proud to be connected and to see this ceremony.
Yes, I've always been proud of my father, but I think today to see this preserved and to see how much the museum and everybody appreciates it is certainly is a very proud moment for me and indeed the whole family.
I think I saw a tear in your eye once.
Oh, well, there was the odd tear when when they were saying the significance of it and what it means, not just obviously to us, but to the history of the Normandy landings and what it represents and the liberation of Europe. And it's a tangible reminder here. And I just hope it serves to remind the next generations of those heroic things that were done and the terrible times that Europe went through.
The younger people to appreciate that and to learn about it.
Very much so, and indeed the role of engineers in military engineering and how their role is key. This could not have been done without civil engineers.
So, we're ready. On 3, 2, 1. Lovely. And one more for me. On 3, 2, 1. Lovely. That's easy, wasn't it? Okay, we're just going to keep the Beckett family together first of all. So anyone else who would like to disappear to the sides? Okay, folks at the back there, could I possibly just ask you just to come that way a second for me? Thank you so much. Okay, so again, 3, 2, 1, nice big smile on one for me, okay? Are we ready? Stop hiding you. Ready? On 3, 2, 1, lovely, and again, 3, 2, 1, lovely, thank you very much. Okay.
Can we just do one with I don't do the road?
Yes, we're going to do that now.
Christopher's being interviewed.
Okay, fine.
Have you got enough papers for all this?
Yes. Well, it's lovely for you. So glad you made it. Because
aren't we lucky it didn't rain?
Well, it's raining now. That's the trouble. Tim, umbrella.
Well, just to explain what we're doing, we're just, because a couple of people have been pulled away for some interviews, so we're just trying to bring them back so we can get the picture. We're going to do one picture with the IWM team that have been involved with putting this together here, with you in that as well, if that's okay. And then we're going to try and do a group picture with as many people as we can that have been involved in the overall project together. So we've just got those two pictures to do. I'm sorry there's a little bit of a wait, but it's just we're trying to assemble a few people together.
Yes.
Whenever we try and do group pictures, they always run off.
I know.
It's always a challenge. You've been very good because you're sat down and I know where you are. So are you okay for the moment?
Absolutely.
Are you sure you're warm enough?
Yes, I'm fine.
Huge harbour being built behind them, when their tanks were being replaced within 3 or 4 days because they could be shipped across the channel onto this harbour and got up to the front line. This meant that the soldiers knew that they were in direct link with home. If they got injured, they would be shipped back. When they needed reinforcements, they could be brought in, and it could be done safely, well defended, and they weren't going to have another Gallipoli situation, which was the dreadful one from the First War. So I think psychologically this was as important as anything. From a logistics point of view, obviously it was a winner.
That's all I needed. Thank you very much indeed. They give us these cameras which have a magic button on, and I can press it and it'll show me if the last thing I think I filmed came out or not.
Chris, where's the Bailey Bridge now?
It's in Pont-Farcy, where we live.
Yeah.
Are you guys done? Sorry. We just need to do a last big group photo of everybody who's been involved.
No, that's fine. Just thank you.
Sorry, Matt.
No, we're finished. That was perfect.
And then there'll be a few more interviews after that.
have, I think they got to place a bolt.
Oh, one thing there. Do you think that's sheared off? Because there's a plug in it, which could be the...
Well, no, the nut's in there, but it's... the bolt's in there, but it's... I don't know, it has sheared off, yes.
Yeah, it looks
whether
as if
it's sheared off
over-tightened or tightened
or doing
sheared.
transport or something.
A couple of people willing to come this side, please. A couple of people this side. People towards back, do I come this side? Check yourself in my space. Sorry, I'm going to move back a little bit for this. 3, 2, 1. Perfect, thank you so much.
You're right,
That's made, aren't it?
Hello. Oh, have you seen the anchor? Haven't you? Peter, have you seen the anchor?
Then they have I called
you a prime mover. It's nice to be referenced. Appreciate it. One more, just for luck. 3, 2, 1. Good. Well done. That was easy. Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Well, yes, it's always been easy to always be part of the pictures and all beard hair and all that sort of stuff, but yes.
I saw there was a bolt here, I thought you might have replaced, but you didn't.
Well,
They went to see it.
I was a bit concerned. The whales are joined with all the bolts bad. I was concerned that when it's in this situation, it might break. So I took some of them out and put new ones in and made sure that it's stable. So if you have a look every now and then, you'll see some bits where the old bolts are still there, but I've taken the old bolts out and replaced them with new 7/8 width bolts.
Yes, well, I think the important thing is that it doesn't... Well, it'll be fine.
Yes. Oh, we can tap it back in. We can soon put it right.
No,
they were just trying to leave it as it was. It was, I mean, the remit I had with John Delaney was just do enough to rebuild it, and that's it, which is what we did.
Because you did so well on the TV yesterday. Can you do another one?
Good service.
We're supposed to be chatting.
Just casually chatting.
Rhubarb.
I know.
Rhubarb, soda water bottle.
We love our granddad. He basically saved Europe from Hitler single-handedly.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's very funny that Uncle Alan should be credited with that, because my father told me he
single-handedly.
Many people apparently
he used to say
won
the
war.
war despite the assistance of the Americans
What did Ted actually do in
in the Royal Navy.
Okay.
He was involved in preparation of places and ports and things like that. Yeah, sailing mainly in the Far East. No, he was in the Far East.
Okay.
But they did value his services because they kept him until 1946.
Goodness, yeah.
Which he always laughed about, because he joined the Customs and Excise in 1938, and in 1939 he signed up. They kept him till 46, and then he worked for the Customs and Excise till he was 60. And when he'd lived to 92, he'd drawn the pension for longer than he'd worked for, which he thought was marvellous. That was a win.
Mm.
He said he was getting all the money that his mates didn't live to get, and he knew they wouldn't mind it.
That's a really nice arrangement, isn't it?
Is that I just gave my
Wonderful legacy for my family.
How do you feel now you've seen it? What was your first reaction when you first saw it?
I think it looks really beautiful. I love the shape. I didn't realise it would look so nice. I thought it was purely an engineering job. And engineering jobs don't always look very beautiful. But I think this is lovely.
And just one quick final question. When your husband was kind of designing this, do you remember kind of what it was like when he was designing it? Do you remember him just kind of being in the corner writing, or do you remember him being quite open about it?
I didn't know him then when he was designing it. But thinking about it since, I think he must have enjoyed every moment, because to have something in front of him, a problem that he had to design to solve the problem, he would have loved it.
That's lovely. Thank you very much. It's perfect.
Right. I feel so proud, so pleased, so many people come here to see it. Because it looks so beautiful. It's not just shape. And I just think it looks nice.
No, my son has
very well thought out.
Oh, yes.
I like the lights.
Complicated.
And then you're alongside the First World War hands.
These were First World War?
Yes, these are First World War hands. They're listed. The whole site is a conservation area. The biggest moment
It's here somewhere, isn't it?
Is it? Doesn't fly.
I've been on it twice.
Have you? To America? Yeah. They're really built for it, to last a few years.
Well, wonderful.
Yes.
Fantastic experience.
Yes. Most people were sorry, as is the way.
When I got off, I thought,
And this is the site where the hanging,
really
there was a hanging here that was blown up during the British film.
well, I think they actually did. Paris had accidents.
Yes.
Must be very proud.
But this is the same. That's a Cold War that building there. Yes, you live here. There are landing fees. Yes. As well as the general aircraft, we have a number of organisations on their restoration. They restore warbirds.
Well, they come over and not that right. It's crazy,
Bill?
Here we are, Phil.
Were you upstairs?
Yes.
And we've gone up the kitchen. My wife wouldn't allow anybody near the kitchen if she was working in it, I don't blame her either.
So how do you go for another one?
Control of it.
Yeah, keep it. Yeah, that's terrible.
Ladies and gentlemen, just grab your attention for the final few moments, if I may. I think today, I hope you agree, it's been this wonderful culmination of the project coming together over a number of years. Thank you to you all once again for coming today. It's, as I said earlier, it's very special to us at the Imperial War Museum. I know how special it is to all of you as well. And thank you so much again to the Beckett family and to the volunteers as well who've made this all possible. So I just want to raise a toast to everybody. This is a wonderful collective effort with the museum staff as well. So I just want to raise a toast to everybody involved in the project to say thank you. So to everyone involved. Thank you. Now I'm just going to hand over one moment to Sarah, Christian's wife, if I may do.
Just a very small thank you to Alicia. Alicia gone.
She's down the far end, actually.
Alicia, thank you for all your work organising everything and all the walking you do around here. You need some more calories. Thank you. Thank you. And Brian.
Brian from Borders.
Brian.
Nice to meet you. Okay, yeah, this has been not just a project, it's a project with our contractors as well, actually, who made this all possible.
Thank
so thank
you.
you.
Transformed the pile of old scrap.
Thank you, everybody. So that, nearing the conclusion of the event for today, and echoing the thank you for being here and making it so wonderful for everybody. My colleague Martin Boswell is going to lead a brief tour of the Land Warfare Hall, back at the far end of the site. We'll do that about 2 o'clock. The bus will be available to go back up there at about 10:02 if you would like to. And then a tour of around about half an hour. Otherwise, please enjoy the museum for the rest of the day. It's open until 6 o'clock. Please just enjoy it as you will. But we will close this room at around about 2. Enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.